Alright everyone, YouTube is now in that happy season where it's unleashing its algorithmic Gestapo on channels of wrongthink. What's happening now is that YouTube is primarily weeding through older videos and knocking them offline, and of course this is leading to a bunch of channels being destroyed. What I've suggested is simple, which is that YouTube should take a step back and retool what it's doing, and it's okay to enforce your current TOS on older material, but people should be given warnings, like instead of giving someone a strike for an 8-year-old video that now runs afoul of TOS that would have been allowed at the time, it should simply be removed and not result in a strike, or it should result in a warning and say, like, you have 72 hours, please remove the video, or you can, appeal here, here's the form. Be a little bit nicer to its content creators, because you see some larger content creators running afoul of new rules. To the point, videos prior to like 2015 are going to be as scarce as hen's teeth pretty soon. Because, I mean, why do you think that several years ago I took the initiative of going back through my videos and I took about half of them off of my channel? I've thought about doing it again just for housekeeping because, older videos don't get a lot of views. If the video's more than a week old, like all of my videos beyond that point combined don't get nearly as many views as my daily viewership on just the new uploads. There's not a whole lot of reason to maintain an entire archive. There are sites, by the way, you can use to move those anyway. So who cares? I'd love it if BitChute would transmigrate my entire catalog. Then I could just get rid of everything prior to the 2016 election that has nothing to do with political analysis and be fine. Oh, or books, obviously, the occult series, because that's not even controversial. It'd be funny, like, imagine tomorrow that YouTube implements, as part of their TOS, they say, okay, videos where there's excessive swearing, like, there are people under 18 on the site, their parents are complaining that people have potty mouth on the site, so we want you to stop saying fuck. Well, imagine what that would mean for me. I would just set all my old videos to private, and I would say, well, anything that I'm not going to redo entirely, I guess, won't be on the site. You'll have to get the edgies. You'll have to get the real me elsewhere. I wouldn't even be a YouTuber at that point. I wouldn't be able to exist on the platform either. Damn, you just imagine that. And so it's nonsensical. And it is Gestapo-like. I mean, it's basically like, hey, you have views that are too edgy. Get away from us. Ooh, you smelly, bad people. That's what built YouTube. YouTube was built by the bad boys of society and a bunch of nerds and outcasts and people like that. And people who, therefore, because they weren't part of that boring mainstream, actually innovated and competed. That's what made YouTube. Now YouTube, though, is Katy Perry and Will Smith. I mean, it was just as clear as day with their latest YouTube Rewind. That was the direction they were going. The YouTube Rewind, here's a bunch of people you've probably never heard of. Fuck PewDiePie, nobody cares about him. Here's a list of people who aren't even organic YouTubers. Most of these people are known for, like here's an Instagram model who happens to have a YouTube channel. Here's a cable star who happens to have a YouTube channel. Here's an actor from the 90s that has a YouTube channel. Well, I remember it was like the death knell of YouTube as a true creators platform. And I hope that they reverse this. I'm not saying like, oh, I hate YouTube. Some people are saying that. I don't hate YouTube at all. I've spent more than a decade making content on the platform. My problem is, like, when Will Smith hit 1 million subscribers, who fucking gives a fucking shit? He's not a native YouTuber. There's tens of thousands of other people that have hit that same mark. YouTube celebrates very, very few of them. I was surprised when PewDiePie hit 100 million that they actually even mentioned it. Oh, he hit 100 million, he got married, so okay, oh, wonderful, yeah. And then a bunch of soccer moms complained about racism in the comments section. It was moronic. It doesn't even make sense. It's all a bunch of bullshit. So yeah, YouTube is going on a purge. If you have older material, you have to be aware that, if you're not confident that you've already weeded through it properly, you can get hit by the algorithm. The algorithm determined that you said the N-word 10 years ago. Oh my God, we're going to retroactively apply our new rules. 10 years ago, YouTube didn't give a fuck. 10 years ago, some person could dress in a Klan robe and say weird shit and YouTube wouldn't have kicked him off. Until they took the hood off and kissed their lesbian lover, then it would have kicked them off. Now it's a complete 180 on some of their policies. With regards to sexual or otherwise suggestive content, that was really headhunted after 10 years ago. Now YouTube doesn't have a big problem. And as far as like political extremism, which is what YouTube would term it. I would term it anything outside the mainstream, including and skeptics, and anything edgy, whatever. That's all now wrong think and bad, and you're not allowed, and you're a bad person, and you'll get demoted and shit. And the worst thing is, it's all happening with machines. There's no human. It's like that group IG Metall or Metal or whatever. I don't know. It's a German group. The YouTubers union bullshit that I think is cringy as fuck. Apparently YouTube has agreed to sit down with them. So in other words, a German metalworkers union wants to represent me as an American content creator. It was hilarious. YouTube agreed to sit down with them. I imagine that it'll go over basically like any stressed middle management consultant visiting their local HR department and getting a free stress ball. It's not going to amount to bullshit. You look at the list of things that this group wants. Do you really think Google's going to give any of that shit to you? No, Google is going to say, we'll try harder, we'll try to be transparent. At the end of the day, they'll do nothing because they know that it can deflate you completely just by inviting you in. They'll give you some treats. They'll give you a special shout out on Twitter and make you feel nice and toasty and happy and warm, and then they'll do nothing. That's the problem. What we need is for mainline content creators to understand that the site that they are currently reliant upon requires people like us as well who are not within the mainstream to prop the site up too. You take us off the site will wither. It'll just become a bunch of boring bullshit, the same as you can get on any cable network. People are not going to be very happy about that. That's not what YouTube has been for its entire existence. If I want to watch Will Smith prattle on endlessly and tell dad jokes, I can get that anywhere. I can turn on the fucking TV. I can go to Will Smith whatever. I can go to his own website and I can see him prattle on about how funny his past was. Or about his cringy kid there or any of a million other things. I don't give a fucking shit. That's not why I use YouTube. I use YouTube to get the real independent bullshit. The fun stuff. And that's what I make and always will. Do I really look... Like, take a look at me. Do I look like I give a fuck about the mainstream? I go out, I dress the same way, I talk the same way, I act the fucking same way. It's gonna happen for the rest of my life. Fuck the mainstream. Yeah. And by the way, people who have actually seen me, they can attest to that. Like, I don't put on my normal clothes to go out on the town. I gotta go pump gas. Let me put on my slacks, my tweed coat or something. It's just not gonna fucking happen. And as far as, like, conforming to a bunch of new rules on YouTube, it's like, I'm just gonna keep making the content the same as I do, and if YouTube has a problem with that, fucking ban me or something. At some point, it's like, there's no way to even care at some point. Like, I mean, I don't feel like it's a waste of time having made content on YouTube. Like, I'm never gonna consciously make a decision of leaving it or anything. But I've got a presence now on BitChute. By the way, link in the description. You're crazy if you're not joining me there with this shit happening. I'm on Dailymotion. I put all my material like on Minds and Gab and stuff. Everything is increasing and growing and becoming more innovative and interconnected. I'm not reliant upon YouTube anymore. I don't need to rely on it as a site in the same way maybe a couple of years ago I did. When 95% of everything was happening on one platform, now it's considerably less. I'd say maybe it's 70% YouTube and swiftly declining. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm gaining as many new followers every day on BitChute as I am on YouTube anyway, on a site that's 1/100th the size. That says a lot about both platforms. It shows the strength of BitChute and similar sites that are growing and diverse, truly diverse in opinion as opposed to fake diversity. And it shows that I'm being algorithmically strangled by a site that I put a decade of effort into. Doesn't feel great. YouTube needs to address the creator community that is getting pissed off royally at them smacking people down for old material. How can a person with thousands of videos reasonably be expected to go back through years and years of archived material in order to make sure that it conforms to new standards? YouTube should not grandfather in older videos into new rules. It never should do that. If a video is 10 years old, it should be held to the TOS that were there at the time. If it violates new TOS, force the video into private mode and tell the person they can remove it or they can keep it on their channel as a private video. Why don't you do that? That way it's out of sight, out of mind, out of your algorithmic calculations and search and everything else. Problem solved. It won't piss anybody off. Nobody will care. That's about all. Peace out.